Well, hello, guys. Welcome back. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, all of you who are joining us after Rabbits Live with Miriam Francis. And I just wanted to start out by saying how proud I am of Miriam. It's always beautiful to see a survivor take back their power. And survivors can take back their power by answering and actually getting on the record and asking questions. All of us as kids that got stuck in those hotels were groomed to ask questions, but only on the terms of our predators. Everything was on their terms. So, yes, I was groomed to ask a lot of horrendous questions that I did as an auditor to implicate myself in data mining, self-admitted felonies, something I should have never been taught as a 12-year-old coming to this country. But to see that we're on the flip side today, asking questions and hopefully getting answers that start making a shred of sense, you guys, because that's what's being asked on the public record. Like Miriam very adeptly said, we are allowed to ask questions, and yes, our perpetrators, our abusers, our predators have rights. They have the right to remain silent. They have the right not to answer anything that they don't want to for themselves. So let's all take a deep breath and hold a little bit of space. A minute of silence here together. And I also just have to go check on something on the door. You guys, 1 second. So shout out to you, Miriam. It was beautiful to see Take Your Power, and it was beautiful for you to actually be able to be heard. And shout out to Rabbit, who is holding space and is also checking the receipts that are being brought to have these conversations, you guys, because we're very well aware of the people that we're up against. We're very well aware of the level of gaslighting and manipulation that they are capable of. They're all proteges of gaslighter of the century, L. Ron Hubbard. They're very, very good at it. They've done their courses, they've done their communication drills, and they really have perfected the art of sticking their fangs inside victims that get told ad nauseum that, you know, it's inconvenient anytime the victim wants to wake up. It's inconvenient anytime that we want to say no. It wasn't allowed inside of those hotels to say no. We weren't allowed to have a shred of pushback. So it's no surprise that people that have been cradled and canoodled like little babies, purporting that it was their right to obstruct justice, that they actually were practicing a religion. Imagine that, practicing a religion while laundering felonies from self-admitted felons. So, yeah, they got very, 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 very comfortable having everything always being on their terms. They got very, very comfortable on them having their literal foot on our necks as kids, being told that we were always the stupid ones that were asking stupid questions, and that anytime we didn't like something, it was because we were so ill-informed and we were so problematic, and how dare we ask questions. And that is why it's taken us our entire lifetime to now be here on this flip side. And now we are collecting receipts. We are collecting the facts, because the facts are the facts. And whether the people that were involved in this disgusting hotel scheme want to face those facts is just not our problem anymore. So I wanted to start with this statement because I needed to gather my thoughts, and I feel like I'm going to go all over the place. So I really wanted to talk about Miriam for a second. Miriam Francis unveils the hidden depths and demands justice in this golden age of reckoning. In the harrowing saga of Scientology's dark underbelly, where innocence was sacrificed for the twisted whims of an organization steeped in deception, a formidable voice did emerge, that of Miriam Francis. In this labyrinth of malevolence, the question she poses echoes like thunder, reverberating through the corridors where silence was once forced upon survivors. As we confront the orchestrators of deceit, including but not limited to the infamous Mr. Rinder, it becomes glaringly evident that the response is one of obstruction rather than cooperation and transparency in the interest of justice for child victims of unspeakable, indefensible acts. Miriam's questions are not merely a quest for answers. They are a resounding call for accountability. The very essence of these inquiries strikes at the heart of an organization that thrived on the subjugation of the most vulnerable. Children who were told they were adults in small bodies. An egregious, disgusting, despicable lie. Pitched by convicted indicted felon L. Ron Hubbard and followed by all of his adult proteges without a shred of critical thinking skills for themselves. Full-grown adults that always choose to infantilize themselves at the expense of children. Well, you know what? That's getting called out. And if you don't like it, then deal with your choices as an adult and start making it about the people that are literally taking it in their entire lifetime to grasp a little bit of air and oxygen to get some help. As survivors, we are now full-grown adults, and we are armed with constitutional knowledge of at least being able to call out and fully expose the grotesque illegality woven into the fabric of Scientology, from child slavery to the unconscionable act of locking up passports and systemically covering up and laundering self-admitted SA. The sanctimonious dance of those implicated, avoiding public scrutiny while unashamedly pocketing awards and financial gains, is a full insult to us, the child survivors' intelligence and our God-given resilience. The narrative has been purposely whitewashed and sanitized, but the golden age of reckoning is here, and we are believed and supported by this community of survivors and trauma-informed advocates who understand firsthand that no kids should have ever been remotely exposed to anything. Any kids in Scientology hotels and commercial buildings have been systemically and institutionally made to believe they were willing, consenting parties to. We, the children who have survived and lived to tell, demand answers that make a shred of sense. And we will continue probing into the abyss of adult choices that fostered an environment of exploitation and the unconscionable systemic adulticizing of minors. The hypocrisy is palatable. Individuals dodging accountability for their roles in a nightmarish scheme, claiming innocence while perpetuating a culture of abuse. Yet as the child kid survivors that endured this racketeering criminal scheme, that through no fault of our own declare with unwavering resolve, enough is MF enough. The inertia of change relies on the radical shift towards justice. Nothing changes if nothing literally changes. We as survivors are fueled by now the unyielding spirit and pledge to dismantle the distorted narrative, expose the truth, expose the facts, and emerge as testaments to resilience that will not be silenced. The reckoning has arrived, and those complicit with it will be held to the fire for perpetuating the darkest chapters of Scientology's history and muscling every last child that they got a hold of. No evasion, no silence, only an unyielding pursuit of justice will suffice. So I want to bring up somebody that's been extremely supportive through our recovery process and the plight that we experienced inside those hotels, you guys. And it's the co-host, one of the co-hosts of Miriam's and her channel called Children of Scientology. And I implore all of you go subscribe to Children of Scientology channel. And it's just another voice of advocacy and raising awareness for the plights of kids that were brought up through this. So this is Christy Gordon, Miss Christy Gordon. Hello, Christy. Whew. So, hi.
That was a lot.
I know. I mean, what did what do what do you feel? What do you think? I don't know. I'm a little
I
lost of
just
words.
think
I'm a little shook.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
a little shook.
No, I've seriously been crying for the past hour. So you guys have watched me before. I'm like the crying lady. So I'm already like on the verge just because of that incredibly powerful, heartfelt, determined. I don't even know how to describe Miriam right now. Like it's just it's so inspirational, and I feel like this correction, um, this transparency. I know, Serge, you have been after this for a while, and you've been a bit of an outlier in your efforts. So you and I talk all the time, but you haven't had public support for what you've been exclaiming for a long time, and you've persevered anyway, and it's brilliant. Miriam popping up with this development recently because of what she was experienced just trying to pursue a criminal case. Like she was just innocently fighting by herself for years, despite the public pretense of support. She's been doing it all on her own this whole time, and has been so strong and so full of heart. And I'm so proud of her. But anyways, just this recent development where this interaction began happening between her and Mike. I'm usually Switzerland. I tend to be neutral and just try and be objective and try and understand that everyone that was raised in is in some. We're all healing from it and doing the best that we can. And we're at different stages of our evolution. And I just try and always keep that in mind. We will never all agree on everything, but it's been remarkable to watch Miriam fight this fight alone, and to see us approach a crossroads where transparency seemed like it wasn't going to happen, and where in the past we've probably would have slunk off and gone, oh, I don't have what I need, or I don't have enough support, or I can't prove it, or whatever. She's just fighting anyway, and I'm so proud of her. I'm so proud of her. And um I also support Mike Rinder and his process. This is a horrible, horrible situation caused by a horrible situation, and I hope that we can navigate this in a human way with heart. I hope that he can step up and admit to his part and not feel like he has to spin it or whitewash it for PR purposes, which is what he spent his life being groomed to do and grooming others to do. And I totally get it. But it's like, it's a new reality. This is a reality of like, we're done with that. We're done with all of that. We're done with pretending that everything makes sense and was okay and it's all justified. It's not all justified. What happened is horrible, and we have to be able to admit
And it's
that, and we have
highly
to be able.
illegal. It's highly
Oh, but
illegal.
it's
This
highly
isn't
illegal. Of
personal.
course, it's highly illegal,
This
and what's
isn't
happening now
personal
continues
whatsoever.
to be highly illegal. Like, and she
This
mentioned
is
that in one of her questions. Do you realize that intimidating a witness and a victim is illegal? It's illegal. It's not okay. And I think we're all just like finally coming into our power and understanding that we have the right to call this out. We have the right to do something about it. And if we don't, it continues to happen to more children. And that's what happened to us already happened. But current children continue to suffer from this exact same situation. Like what Miriam went through is still happening right now. is right now. What you experienced is still happening right now. They're still recruiting children. They're still separating children from families. They're still spinning stuff. They're still covering stuff up. They're still sexually assaulting children because children aren't children, because you pulled it in, because you're not the greatest good. All of these bullshit policies and reasons that Scientology has to rationalize away why none of it matters. You're not important. So I'm just so incredibly proud of Miriam, and I'm so happy that we are where we are, as painful as this is. And it's painful. This feels painful to me, but this is like painful growth. This is a band-aid being ripped off that should have been ripped off a very long time ago. And I hope we navigate it well. I think we can. I think we can do that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, again, it's for the benefit of who we know are the most vulnerable as we speak. And I know I've spoken to Miriam throughout the years, and we've all been here for each other as much as we could to support each other through these journeys. And the one thing we've always spoken about is we cannot fathom that everything we went through that was done with such impunity, with such bad faith. I mean, these disgusting, sadistic, horrendous hotels, there is no middle ground for these people. They've been radicalized. They've been sold a bag of shit. They've literally been sold these disgusting grooming books by a convicted, indicted felon who was no genius, who is literally no God. And the one thing that all of them can say is they can blame it on L. Ron Hubbard. Oh, L. Ron Hubbard came up with that idea. He's the one that pitched it like this, and I didn't know, and it wasn't your idea, but you made those choices, and that's what's being questioned now on the public record. It's like those choices were made. People did take it upon themselves to launder these horrific, disgusting crimes under the guise that we had a technology that was going to float it all away. And you know what? It's like it's not floating nothing. And it's being an infantile, pathetic, degenerate. If you're standing with L. Ron Hubbard, really holding the book and really thinking that that actually absolves you from actual criminal acts written in black and white law, mind you, written in black and white law. So everything we're talking about is the law. We're not asking to be given any special treatment. In fact, we're just begging on our knees to be treated as citizens of a country that purports that justice is all about equality, but yet we've only had the second, third, or fourth type of class citizen that we were relegated to be as full-blown slaves. Child slavery was made great again inside of those hotels. And while the Constitution canceled it and said, oh, no one's ever going to be a slave anymore in this country, everyone's free to do whatever, it wasn't true for us. What we experienced in those hotels was full-blown slavery and, a systemic ripping of all of our families. It's like all of our families are destroyed. None of us came up with a family unit that makes a shred of sense. And even the kids that are still stuck in that disgusting toxic dynamic where the power imbalances are unthinkable. And the only ones that prop up and go all the way to the top are the ones that are full blown narcissistic, don't give a shred of an F. And you know what? No, it's not okay. We're saying no. We're questioning things on the public record. And we are advocating and using our voice that we were told not to ever use because, we're too much, like even the people that say, oh, why do you protest? Talk to the Scientologists really nicely. And unfortunately, it ain't going to work. Predators don't want to just be told no. They want to be left alone. They want to have no repercussions if they stick their fangs in a child and then they just can get away with it because L. Ron Hubbard did tell them that they were just a little confused. And again, it's like, no, I'm sorry. Like it doesn't work that way. That's not reality. And we thought it was reality. We were told it was reality. We bought the pitch from our parents and from all of the adults that normalized this for themselves. But we are now adults ourselves, and we do know better. And, you know, unless the facts are not exposed for what they are, and everyone that played their part in that scheme is actually, you know, asked to contribute on the literal record, because we're not going to just sit here and allow them to continue to lie to themselves so that their delusion can protect them from the choices that they made. Just because they have escaped all legal consequences and they are literally unscathed doesn't mean that they've taken a shred of responsibility for anything. And there's no amount of amends Mike Rinder, Debbie Cook, David Miscavige, Shelley Miscavige, or any of those perpetrators could do on this physical earth that would return our childhoods, that would return what was taken from us, where no one can give it back to us. There is no, oh yeah, take this, and then all of a sudden you should be so thankful that we gave you something.
Mm.
You know? So they all have to face the music. They all have to face the betrayal of their own parents. I mean, this is, Mike Rinder was sent there by his parents. So his parents are the ones that sent him there. But then he did rise up the ranks, and then he did leave when he was 50. And David Miscavige is still doing it, and Shelley Miscavige is still doing it, and Angie Trent, and Supishay Gentry, and Debbie Cook, and Dave Pettit, and every last shred of executive. This isn't personal for Mike Rinder, you guys. Like, y'all just hear Mike Rinder's name, and yes, he was a head of OSA. Sucks to be you, Mike Rinder. We wouldn't wish that on our worst literal enemy. So stop pretending that this is so personal about you. You're just in the context of what took place. That's all. So in what world do you expect not to be contextualized when you're only on the public record contextualizing yourself in a manner that is convenient for you? And you know what? It is getting called out, because you call out David Miscavige all the time. Oh, David Miscavige was so unhinged. Oh, David Miscavige really hurt us. Oh, David Miscavige really beat us. Okay, so you've been allowed to say that ad nauseum for the last 18 years. So now what? You don't want to be called out? You cannot be contextualized because what? You left the hotel and we should just be so thankful that you did? No. No, no, and no. You're all going to be told no. And we know how much you hate that little word. But you know what? We don't care. We don't care. It's just not anyone's problem. It's called be an adult, grow some big panties on, put them on, and do whatever in the hell you need to do. You don't want to be told what to do? That's fine. Then go and do it on your own. You don't want to answer any of Miriam's questions? Do not. That's your right. You can remain as silent as you MF want. We don't have the right to pry it out of you. Lucky for you. Lucky for you, I cannot grab you and set check the living daylights out of you. Because I do have that little training that I did get given. So just imagine that I don't have the right now, on the flip side, to grab that little e-meter and lock every last single one of you and ask you whatever in the hell question I want. What, when you were doing it, it was all a religious experience that everybody was having? Well, guess what? None of us kids that were getting interrogated thought it was very religious now in the aftermath of it all. So if you don't want to be asked questions, then why in the hell were you selling that to everybody in those hotels? By all means, answer that question with a straight face to yourself in front of a mirror. Because that's what's being asked of you by the kids that got ensnared in these disgusting hotel chains from hell, that you're still out there saying that whatever. It's just not acceptable. It's not acceptable to play dumb. Is the year 2024. So, and you did say, Christy, like the process of this, but these people have had literally the lifetime of opportunities. 18 plus years since 2007. I mean, how many more decades should we wait to literally ask the questions that we are allowed to ask as per the Constitution? We are allowed to ask questions. We're not allowed to have a criminal case. We're not allowed to have a civil case. We're not afforded any of those rights. We cannot presume that just because all of these horrible things happen to us, anyone is going to give a literal shred of an F. Well, we've already lived that. We already know that everything that happened to us there, passports locked up against our will, being asked disgusting questions, that, now y'all on the flip side really want to go and be like, oh, really, I'm going to go get myself a lawyer because I'm being asked disgusting questions that I really want to answer. But you know what? Where was that energy when you were all about asking those disgusting questions? Literally, where was that energy? Where were kids afforded attorneys to field questions from auditors that would be unhinged, asking disgusting questions? Because that's what you were doing, in case you didn't notice, in case you have no clue what in the hell it was. That was normalized to be done by kids. Kids who couldn't consent to y'all's depraved, disgusting, indefensible, adult-only game.
Agreed. That reminds me of something someone commented the other day on some of the streams that we did on our channel. It was how sad it was that the people that we were calling adults in our experience were also second gens that had been thrust into Scientology as children: Amy Scobie, Mike Rinder, Janice Gillum, Grady, whatever. And I was equally apologetic about that experience for them, and also to trying to explain the difference between the ones that got in and stayed and rose through the ranks like cream to the top and stayed in until it got very uncomfortable for them eventually. And those of us that were just trying to leave the whole time. It was traumatic the whole time. And we refused to abuse others. We didn't want to become victimizers. Like we didn't have it in us. It was, we would rather go be homeless, live under a bridge, have no family. And that's what happened. That's what happened to all of us that broke away as soon as we could. And it's not the same. And that's not to say that I don't have compassion and empathy for the folks that went, oh, okay, so to survive here, I have to be a tiger and I have to be horrible. I have to turn into a monster in order to survive this experience. I can understand that as well. But there is a difference. That's all I'm saying. There's a difference in those two scenarios. And, I have empathy and compassion for every child that was raised in Scientology, no matter what they became. And I hope that they recover from it. I hope they find themselves. And I hope that you and I have talked about this a lot. You leave with so much shame and stigma and horrible feelings and you just want to get away, and you go and you get away, and you don't want to turn around and come back. One, because it's scary, and two, because you actually accept at a certain point that you are also a villain, or you're a monster, or you cause these things, or you're only leaving because you're a horrible criminal or something. Like, eventually, over decades, as a child, you begin to accept that because everyone around you is telling you that. Like, everyone, there's no one advocating for you. It's all that you pulled it in or you caused it. And so coming back is so hard. It's so hard to circle back to this community and put aside this horrific baggage that you were handed as a child and that you carried with you even after you left. And so I understand folks that come back and they want to help, but they don't want to expose their underbelly. They don't want to expose what they did because they can't. It still hurts too much. I understand that, but I believe it's necessary. And I would use, for example, I know there's a whole thing between Mike Rinder and Aaron Smith Levin. I consider them both friends, and I value them both, and they've both made valiant efforts in their own way. And I literally consider Aaron a friend. Um, but I feel like what he just did recently, where he just exposed everything. He just showed all his warts and everything that he had been so afraid of. So long, like that's you have to, or we can't get anywhere. And I feel like that's the thing that some folks are holding on to, this whitewashing, this controlling the narrative, this don't look here, we're all good guys. And I'm going to say this and it's hurtful, but it's the Mikey Lely show. Like, I can't. That's not the truth. There you go.
No, and I agree, Christy. I agree. And again, you guys, it's all of our families are implicated. Everyone's family has been destroyed. Mike Rinder and I, my own cousin that was underage, that was signed up to the Sea Org, ended up marrying his son that's still stuck in the Sea Org with a cancer condition that he cannot even be told what in the hell he could always be predisposed to. And what? They're just supposed to continue living in that disgusting hotel, being told that they're saving a world? What world are they really saving by being abused and being victimized? Because again, Christy, like when I think about all those kids that have just grown up there and that haven't had the strength to leave, or they haven't had the capacity to do so, or they're dead bondage up to their ears, or they had their passport locked up, or whatever other million ways that they were holding us behind. And unfortunately, that whole entire disgusting system is a slave master and slave system. So it might be harder for the slave masters to let go. And you know what? Again, we wouldn't wish to be in y'all's position, but we're also not just going to stand here idly and wait for y'all to, in your own terms, whatever way time you want. I mean, no. I mean, if we didn't care for y'all, we would. And it is called tough love. And if we didn't care, we wouldn't be wasting our oxygen advocating and literally trying to sound the alarm in any possible way we can. Because nobody sounded the alarm when we were there. Everybody was so comfortable. Everybody was so afraid to disrupt the status quo. God forbid someone got mad. And it's like, we don't give an F if someone gets MF mad. That's on them. They can go take their projection, go hire a therapist, get out of your feelings, process your feelings, and then go get a legal advocate so that they can set up a deal so you can figure out how in the literal hell you can actually contribute to the conversation in a meaningful way. I mean, as if there's no criminal defense attorneys that can cut deals, that can say, okay, this is very good of you to really want to come forward with all of this information, because self-incrimination is considered by these courts when cases are done. I mean, as if the courts really go, oh yeah, this happened and I really have this information, and now, oh my God, we're going to grab you and handcuff you. That's not how the law works. That's how Scientology works. In Scientology, they don't give an F. In Scientology, you'll come with something and they'll just grab you, rope you, and do their kangaroo BS, which is unthinkable. So, I think the aspect of Rinder that I just can't stomach is that he knows. Mike Rinder, you spend so much time with attorneys, being groomed, being told what the law was, being told how to case, as if you weren't the top legal consultant in your own words. Like, in what world do you not know how to navigate where in the hell you are today? Because we don't understand that. We literally do not understand that. And, again, it's like, you want to make this all about David Miscavige. David Miscavige, according to you, David Miscavige, supposed to be in jail. Okay, but I'm sorry. Where did you not understand that you were there for decades yourself doing his bidding? Where? How does that not get put into the context? Because you walked out of the threshold of a hotel. And everything you did do there, everything you did normalize there, everything you did pitch, You were L. Ron Hubbard's publicist. You grabbed Miriam's mom to go paint portraits of L. Ron Hubbard for his fake museum that you propped up in the middle of Hollywood, and it's still there. We go and visit it as much as we can to check what in the hell is going on in there. So
When I think
again,
about
it's like,
when I think about that's the reason that Mirriam was left, that for that fake bullshit PR spin, I don't have enough bad words to describe that that's the reason this child was put in harm's way. That bullshit. It's just mortifying.
it is mortifying. And you know, she should have never been ripped apart from her mom. She should have never been brought in from another country. Her and her two little brothers. I mean, you guys, her two little brothers came to flag. Debbie Cook trafficked them. Imagine they got trafficked from Los Angeles, and then I don't think Miriam was brought to Florida, but you know, the two brothers. Then they ripped them apart. The sister got stuck in L.A. The kids were sent to Florida. They were so young. They were tiny. They were tiny little. They were so cute and tiny. And you know, one of them got posted in HCO. I think it was like his job was to do something with the ethics files, and I forgot what the other one was doing, but it's horrific. We know her. We know all each other. I mean, you know, we didn't have families because apparently Scientology becomes your family, a family that always will throw you under a literal bus faster than your head can spin. They will never have your back. They will never, you know, give you any sort of unconditional love. They'll just, you know, if their status is affected inside of the hotel, if whatever Mike Rinder, Debbie Cook, David Miscavige, and Shelley thought was more important than anything to our own parents. Our own parents thought, oh no, if I do this, then Shelley, Mike, and Shelley will think that we're such down stats. So, oh no, I really want to impress them.
Totally.
I really want to impress all of these executives that are pathetic. Y'all didn't have a shred of reason that anyone should have been looking up to y'all. Now, that doesn't mean that y'all weren't, you know, smart AF, capable AF. I mean, all of that talent wasted. Because again, they were given to who? To a convicted, indicted felon to float around a ship. That definitely did groom them to grow those delusions of grandeur. You're really going to save a world. You really are that special. You really have what it takes. And then all of a sudden, they really bought it. They really thought it was their thing, and they built their entire lifetime around it. I mean, it's like, that's what it's called. Those were your choices. I mean, stop making it about us. We're not having this personal. You're not the only person being called out, Mike Rinder. We've called out every single last parent. All executives. You're not alone. Rest assured. You are not alone. What happened to all of us couldn't have happened if not every single last shred of parent was trying to keep up with the MF Joneses. Oh, they did it? Oh, let me do it too so that everybody thinks I'm cool. Oh, you donated your kids to the Sea Org? Oh, let me do that too. So we all are in this together, right, guys? We're all in this together. And yes, all of you parents and all of you Scientology executives need to go sit down in a room and have a little conversation between yourselves, adults that you all are. Because the kids should not be the victims of y'all's stupidity, reckless stupidity, reckless negligence. Those are crimes. Recklessly being negligent as a parent in these United States in black and white is considered a literal crime. Locking up a child against their will is considered a crime. Were you the police? Did you have enough to charge them, to really hold them, to really, you know, make them answer whatever questions? Well, they did make a systemic practice of that. They did. Imagine that. Imagine that they don't want to be, now that they're in the real world, oh, no one can touch me. I'm very, very innocent. Well, sure. But where was that energy when you were grabbing us as kids and saying, you're disgusting, you are at ethics, come over here, we're going to interrogate you, and we're going to make you. I mean, that's what was done to me, Mike Rinder. You should ask Debbie Cook what was done to me. Actually, ask Angie Trent and Marty Rathbun. Because again, you didn't do it. You weren't there. You weren't anywhere near when I got scammed into being part of a hole when I was an underage minor. So again, you guys, you think, oh yeah, this is really about Mike Rinder. This is about all of them. It's about every last shred one of them that don't have the luxury of plausible deniability, that don't have the, oh, well, maybe you were a very nice Scientology parent. That what? That didn't ever audit your child? That didn't pay for your child to be audited? Where are those parents that said, oh no, you're 21. You can't even know anything about this because you're just too young. And that's why they're all implicated. So you're in the company of every last parent and every last executive that was there, Mike Rinder. What you cannot afford to do now is to really build all these delusional buckets that you have built for yourself. Oh, I'm so much better than David because look at me, I left. And what? You left and what? David is still at it. Everything that's been done to kids is still being done. Why is that still being done? Why is still this being pitched as, oh, well, it's big religion and it was like the Vatican. It wasn't like the Vatican. This was a hotel. People were checking in. People were being offered, oh, do you want Natalie? Or do you want Serge? Or do you want Sherry Chapolina? Or do you want Ana Luisa Rodriguez? Or would you like Irida Pallavicini? Or would you like Emanuela Sanz? Or would you like what other child was there being groomed to do this? That's why it looks so normal to us. That's why y'all got away with doing this. The courtrooms with little dolls and little clay and everything looks so educational and so above water. And all the adults that sat in those disgusting grooming salons were living it up. Apparently no one saw a shred of red flag because this was all done in the open. So before anybody wants to, oh, but some Scientology, no, they all did the courses. They all saw it. They all contributed. They all have paid for it. This is called, they were paid members of a hotel. They had the membership. I mean, it sucks. It sucks to be them. It really does suck to have your paternal and maternal instincts turned against you, against your own offspring. I mean, what type of disgusting person would really love to be like, oh, I have a technology that you know what it's going to do? Dehumanize the living F out of you. And then all of a sudden your maternal instincts will be nowhere to be found because you're going to be so pressed to really, have these executives admire you. Executives that, are childless themselves, as if Shelley and Dave ever had kids for themselves. No. They didn't have kids. They abducted kids. And they had aiders and abettors. They had enablers in their racketeering, criminal, child trafficking conspiracy. All manner of people were used. Claire Headley was used. She was there from 4 years old, brought from another country. I mean, this wheel of abuse doesn't give a shred of an F who you are. Before you know, you're ensnared, and you're disgustingly ensnared and implicated. And why? Why was that done? Why were all of these lives wasted? Why were all these childhoods wasted? For the entertainment of what? So y'all could just make some bucks on the backs of children? Because I've said this again and again, Christy, all they would have had to do is make it 21 and up, card everyone at the door, you can't come in. Where's your, you're not 21, then you cannot be part of this. Bye-bye, get lost. We cannot be caught doing what in the hell they all know they do. I mean,
it's hilarious that there's more protections for children from alcohol than from cults, than from trafficking,
And
than
that's why I said
from this
21, because
type
some
of
people are
abuse.
like, no, 18,
Very crazy.
18. And I'm like, no. I'm like, no. If you cannot even grab
Yeah.
a beer at an alcohol establishment, in what world are you signing up to be part of a disgusting role play that is hardcore AF that we don't still recommend anyone do? I mean, again, humans should be able to set boundaries and have comfort levels and not just be told that, you know, we're really going to save you by exposing you to this. But, you know, plenty of adults are still very much doubling down and tripling down that, you know, they were having amazing experiences for themselves. We're not here to question that or concern ourselves with that. Literally, you know, going back to the First Amendment, that's what I'm saying. It's like, had they done that, had they really said, okay, well, you know what, since we do have access to the books, since we do have access to the pitch of L. Ron Hubbard, it says here, lock up someone against their will, since we do have the best attorneys that the money can buy on speed dial and consent forms that could be lengthy, you release, you don't care, you don't give a shred of an F here, blah. I mean, and check it out, you guys, because Christy just posted one of these releases that I just about literally couldn't even comprehend where my body was and my spirit was when I saw the paper again, Christy. You know, because it's like now I'm looking at it, understanding what these type of releases were. I mean, when we did it, as much as these people told us, oh, don't go by a word you don't understand, you guys, because you really could F up if you really like read something and you don't understand it. Well, all the consents that they gave us, we never had to understand. They never cared about, oh, really clear a word. On the releases, they didn't give a shred of an F. Oh, just sign that, sign that. Come on. They were
Yeah.
pressed to
Hurry
get
up.
them
Get back on
signed.
post. Yeah. Right.
Right. And they were pressed to get it. Oh, no one can just not sign it. Like the signature had to be there, but they didn't give a shred of an F if you understood it. I mean, and Miriam just brought this up too, as she was speaking to Rabbit, that, you know, even when she left, she was being made to sign all these forms. Where was her legal counsel representing her anywhere? Because all that these executives ever provided was counsel for themselves. Oh, we really need to check before you leave. Oh, you could be a liability here. So make sure you sign this. Make sure we really get you on tape. Make sure we really write a lot of affidavits. You know, and that's what
Serge,
it's called. Yeah.
when you're not making videos and you hop into these OSA documents that were Mike Rinder's that were just released, all of this, all of this becomes clear. The whole strategy to roll out all these new releases and agreements and how they were building them and sharing them back and forth with the attorneys to make sure that they were legally binding, regardless. It's so gross. It's so gross to watch this happening. And I know, I know Mike has mentioned that he was a part of it, but Miriam just shared again freshly this video that he did with Leah a few months ago, like 4 months ago, when Mike just came back from his cancer treatment and he was feeling well enough to do a podcast. And they did one that was called Leak Documents. And I thought, oh, they're going to share these documents that he didn't share all these years. Like since he left in 2007, he didn't share them all. And they're all just rife with fair game, all these programs that he ran and all of this all of this strategy around silencing and gagging everyone. But they didn't. They just shared one that was like a celebrity angle about sexual abuse, James Barber. And then they said they were going to start going through them. And I was like, oh, good. They're going to finally share them. But then they didn't. They've only been sharing like the Tom Cruise ones and I don't understand it. But if we can get those shared broadly, if we can start digging into them, they're incredibly powerful. I understand why Mike feels uncomfortable. There's got to be a lot of legal liability. They are gross. I didn't realize how much they were targeting ex second gens that finally escaped from the Sea Org. Like you guys, you're named in them. Sterling, Mike Brown, Jenna
Jenna.
Miscavige, Justin Stern, like all of these poor kids, Stefan, like that finally escaped. They finally escaped from the Sea Org. Like all of these years of human trafficking, child trafficking, loss of family, horrible abuses. They finally get away, and they're running these fair game ops on them to keep them just controlled and squashed and silent. And it's just horrific to read them. And I know Mike has said I did bad things, but you can't experience the bad things that he did until you realize you read these things. And I look at it in a new way now. I really do, and I hope that they can start to focus on the things done to the little people instead of just the folks that are clickable. Like I could give a shit about Tom Cruise. I could give a shit about all of these other people that they seem to keep pulling out. Claire, Mark, Mike. I think even Amy and Matt and Leah. Like, I don't understand why they're focusing on the celebrity angle of it. Nobody gives a shit about that. Those are not the people being hurt. Those aren't the people that need the voice, Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think Rabbit brought that up as well. It's like these people, we're the regular schmegulars. We weren't even that special. We were just propped up inside of these centers. We were abused. We were enslaved. We were put to do unthinkable things. We were placed in roles where it was literally putting us in clear and present danger, things that had nothing to do with our well-being and our development that they decided to cancel. And,
Yeah.
The other thing that really upset me the other day, Christy, is what they're doing now to these kids, popping tires. They're literally popping tires of the protesters. We haven't vandalized a shred of thing. No one is going into their buildings and vandalizing anything, but yet they're vandalizing us. And we know from these documents, we can no longer say, oh, it's a figment of our imagination. We must be so cuckoo for Cocoa Pops. In what world do all these tires end up popped up and deflated, for example? In what world is that? All coincidental that, in what world do they go and get TikTok to cancel Jessica Palmadesa's account in Streets LA? Because what? They have the power to do that. And we know that they are concerted campaigns. These people don't sleep. They go, how are we going to ruin them? How are we going to ruin them? Because their only option is to ruin the people that are speaking against them. Anyone who says no is an enemy. And it's like, no, I'm sorry. That's not how the truth is ever going to get reconciled, by making all these exceptions for, oh, I was a celebrity. It's like, yeah, well, you know what? Speaking of celebrities, you guys, those are the ones being told that they're royalty. Those are the ones that are being treated very special. So if there's any three buckets to make out of this whole horrendous, disgusting thing, the who's and the whys are the celebrities, the Scientology executives, and the parents. Three buckets. You're in one of those three. Were you a celebrity? Were you endorsing these hotels? How much money did you give? How much child labor did you get? Because your folders were literally brought by minors from one room to the other. Minors that had to stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning moving y'all's folder. So before anybody says, yeah, but I never got audited by kids, it didn't matter. These kids, this entire hotel operation wouldn't work. Would all just completely disintegrate if there were no underage kids being used as pawns in this scheme.
And so, for example, Leah was in the Sea as a child. She experienced being off in the squalor of the Quality Inn at the Flag Land Base, where all the children and families were sent off to with cockroaches, and it was disgusting. It was disgusting. We lived there for a while, and left. Her mom they routed out when she was assigned to the RPF. And so she has that experience. She knows what that was like. She experienced it. But she came back as a celebrity and let those same children, those Sea Org kids, wait on her in the dining rooms and as hotel maid staff and as tech pages calling her for session. And that was cool then. It was cool then. And so I feel like a correction has to happen. Like you and I have talked about, and Aaron broached the other night, I think, and I think this conversation's been coming up lately. How do you draw the line between victim, victimizer, who should get support, who's the bad guy, who's the good guy. Like, it's such a rainbow. But I do believe that folks that are in are still brainwashed. They're still under that coercive control. And it takes a while to recover from that. As you know, you leave and you don't just come out of it instantly. There's a long kind of evolution of peeling and shedding and that has to happen. And some people do it much faster than others. You were brilliant. You did it so fast. It took me decades to do it. Like, I was not coming back. I didn't want to. The only reason I did was because of friends and other kids and community. But you were an activist almost right away. I was not that. I didn't do that. But the thing is, once you're out and you're safe and you're not exposing what you did, what you saw, I don't understand what your excuse is. Like, we can't make change if you're just pointing fingers at other people that's safe for you. Like, David Miscavige had nothing to do with my experience. I've said this repeatedly. He didn't exist in my time there, and I had a horrible time. I was a child on the RPF twice. I was in the Sea Org and the Cadet Org and lost my family and suffered disconnection and was homeless. Like, all of those things had nothing to do with David Miscavige. They didn't also have anything to do with Mike Rinder, to my knowledge. So those guys aren't my bad guys. It's the system. It's the culture. It's the policies. Like, it is L. Ron Hubbard, what he set up and what grew from that. It's a horrific, horrific, disgusting machine. But once you're out and safe, if we don't step up, and I wish so badly that parents would circle back and get their own victimhood under control enough that they could help expose what's happening to the vulnerable, what they allowed to happen to their own children, what they felt pressured to let happen to their own children, what now they have remorse over, but they can't change. But like, there's current children experiencing it. If we don't all come together and expose what we know, it won't change. And we can do it ourselves. We will. Like, us kids that experience it, we're going to fight until our last breath to expose it. But I just wish that the people that have been out long enough to be safe would help and not use it as a platform or for content or to whitewash or elevate. Or I just wish we would all do it with good intentions. And I just wish.
Yeah, in an ideal world, right? But we also have to come to reality and understand that, there is everybody is an adult. Everybody makes a choice. And no matter how much undue influence you claim to be under, and the precedent is set, you guys. The precedent is set by Charles Manson and his group of murderers. Undue influence does not excuse you acting on said undue influence, especially when you are an adult. Especially when. Now, can that be contextualized in the grand scheme of things? Whenever in the hell these courts of the United States stop playing dumb? Whenever in the hell the LAPD, the corrupt LAPD, who comes up again and again, LAPD leadership, so take note. Y'all's reputation keeps getting wrecked because you've always been on the wrong side of the law. Imagine. Clearwater Police Department, y'all are right there in the gutter. So continue being there. Continue wrecking y'all's literal reputation, because we will show you the receipts. We will continue to show patterns. Patterns is all that matters. Everyone can go blah, 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 la, la, la. And what? What does that mean? Oh, yeah, let me just spin everything. Spin, spin, spin. We live in this literal city of spin. Los Angeles is a city of spin, you guys. Oh, this person's real great. Oh, my God, look, there's Jeffrey and Jelaine. Oh, yeah, look, they have a lot of celebrity around them. They must be so cool. They must be so this. They must be so that. And you know what? It's like all that spin is for nothing. All that fame is for nothing. These people get given special access to things that are not acceptable. They're not living under the same rules as everyone else because they've been told they're so special their whole life. A la Lizzie Moss, as if we weren't just there with Elizabeth Moss at Jimmy Kimmel, really wanting to look very relatable and funny and hee, ha, ha, ha. But again, Elizabeth Moss, how much millions have you donated to a hotel where you would know kids are ensnared? That's the question that you and your little publicity team needs to start typing real quick for your damn selves. It's just that simple. It's like, put your money where your mouth is. If your money's going into a trafficking hotel that has somehow been able to circumvent the literal Constitution, because that's what we're talking about, you guys. This is not our opinion. The Constitution said child slavery was abolished. Now, whatever in the hell Mike Rinder and Debbie Cook and Angie Blankenship and whoever else told themselves that, oh, look, they're very religious, these kids. That's a delusion. That's a delusion. We were literally scammed and told that, yeah, we really were there to save our world. But the facts are not that. And the facts are not defamation, contrary to these people's belief. Oh, you're really defaming me. You're really making me look bad. Yeah, go blame L. Ron Hubbard if you don't want to look bad, because we didn't make the rules. We never typed a shred of policy. Nobody listened to us. Literally the whole time we were there. We couldn't say no. We couldn't say rein this back. It was all no. Everybody does it. You have to do it. You got to be doing it. You got to be a part of it. You really want to belong? Then do it. You really want to be part of the group? Then do it. So that disgusting, unfunctional, horrific thing being propped up and being state enabled in this country, in these United States, in the year 2024. Because again, I cannot stop repeating myself, because it seems like, we constantly get told, but a lot of good has been done. Nothing has been done because nothing has been stopped. So where in the hell are the receipts getting reconciled? Because you know what? The gas chambers of gaslighting are alive and well. The supposed idea that a child could end up locked against their will for however long they feel like keeping that child there is alive and well. So in what world have we really advocated for a shred of a thing if it's all just the same today as we speak, as we know that everything that was so hurtful done to us, hurtful that we were put to supervise, to give certificates to people, to partake in these disgusting grooming salons with our literal grandmothers brought in to groom it in on us. Oh, look, your grandma's doing it. Don't you want to be a supervisor just like her? It's just disgusting, you guys. Like, and again,
Mine was an
going back
auditor.
to,
Yeah. Mine was the flag examiner. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You were the flag examiner?
My grandmother was the flag examiner.
Your grandmother was there too? So you're third generation too. Oh my God.
No, but we were, my aunt who joined the Sea Org and went to the Apollo got my mother and my grandmother in at the same time. So we had 3 generations in, but not 3 consecutive generations. Like we were all in at the same time. So I just still think I'm second gen. But yeah, she was the HGC examiner at Flag.
And again, you guys, like, for kids to see their grandparents involved, to see your parents involved, to see the people that you think you love. And it is extremely painful to realize that love that you felt and that truth that you thought was there couldn't have been more diametrically opposed to the reality, because these people, again, turn their maternal instincts against them. We're not saying that every single person wanted to be a monster in there. And in fact, they all have their own personality, believe it or not. The L. Ron Hubbard personality shows up, for some of them 24/7, like in the case of my father, Pedro Gil, He was, well, even he had a few moments of like, oh, let's listen to some music and, you know, whatever. And that's all it took as a child. Oh, my dad loves me because he wants to listen to some music with me. But you see what I'm saying? But it's like, okay, so he wasn't being L. Ron Hubbard when he was showing me music. But then what about the rest of the time? That he was abusing me, that he was sadistically, you know, having power trips for himself. And, you know, I mean, as I listen to Miriam and everything she's gone through, it's like, there's so much dysfunction, you guys. I mean, imagine the delusion of a parent really going with the pitch that their child is an adult. It doesn't work out well for the child. And then, you know, look how long it's taken us for us to even literally have a shred of support. The courts haven't given it to us. The LAPD hasn't given it to us. The FBI hasn't given it to us. The Clearwater Police hasn't given it to us. The people that are supposed to enforce the laws, that's what we're asking to do. We're not being asking to, oh, please treat us very special. We're asking for the law to be enforced. Imagine we are now taxpayers paying for these laws to be enforced, and no one wants to enforce a shred of them because, you know, the LAPD gets a better deal if they get a little quick money on the side. And, you know, they couldn't be more groomed to really think that everything that happened in those hotels is a religion, ecclesiastical. And it's like, come on. Like, just because someone tells you, I mean, how are you running investigations? How are you guys having a police department that doesn't know how to pull a string? Because you know what, LAPD commissioner and Clearwater Police Department commissioner, come to us. We will teach y'all how to investigate. How they taught us in those hotels how to investigate. How our hands could have landed on a pike if we didn't get the real situation. If a self-admitted felon showed up at the hotel and we didn't pull the string, it was our heads on pikes. So we didn't have the luxury that y'all have to play dumb. Because believe you me, you would have Debbie Cook breathing down your neck faster than your literal head could spin. Oh, you missed this? Oh, you didn't pick this up? Oh, you were so weedy. Oh, you don't confront anything. You know? And it's like, okay, well, you know what? LAPD department, you are a weedy AF department. Because y'all are just going with, oh, roses are red, violets are blue. CC is just the place for me and you.
Sirs, that's been so hard to watch, you guys doing your protests and watch the you guys are brilliant, and I love the community, and I love the empowerment, and I love the freedom of being honest, because I know how hard. I went to the Blue Building with Dylan Gill and Tyler one time when we were having a second gen meetup, and I was like sweating through I was just like sweating bullets. It was so, it's like going back to your Chinese prison camp after you've escaped and going back there. So it's brilliant to watch you go. I understand the power that the confront that takes the power. And to watch the LAPD keep rolling up and doing what they're doing is just, it's insane. And the cost of it, and the cost of it, and that it's on us to pay for it. And Scientology doesn't care, even if they get fined for it, even if they get pinged for it or penalized or something eventually, because they all of these fake calls. They don't give a shit. They have endless money. It doesn't matter to them. Someone who cares has to put a stop to it. Like, who's that going to be? Us? I guess.
Well, it's
Does
the
no one
only right
care?
we have, and
No
it's
one
the only
cares?
thing we can
Okay.
exercise, and it's the only
I
power we
know.
can exercise. You know, like we can only just record what's going on and establish the patterns that we are
You guys have
seeing with
been
our own
brilliant.
eyes. And
Brilliant.
and again, it's
Brilliant.
like the fact that we have a community, a diverse community, everyone in our YouTube channels, all the creators that are there, whether it rains, whether it shines, like true doing it because they are being volunteers. They are volunteering to this. Their tires get popped. Well, they go and replace it. You know, and why are their tires getting popped and nobody gives an F? I mean, you know, that's also like horrible, to be honest, but you know, they show up for us and they do care and they have smelled the rat. And it's like, once you have skin in the game and you know what
It's
in the
brilliant.
hell's going on, and you spend the time there to observe, not get told. I mean, all of these people have spent time observing what they can observe. Imagine that they don't have the ability to go inside the hotel. I mean, imagine that. Imagine just if we were just allowed to go with our cameras and tell Scientology, okay, nobody will speak. We promise you we won't even ask a single question. We'll just go with our camera and go, oh, just show people what is in there. Because that's what Scientology is so pressed about. Don't see what we have. They're going to really save our world, but they really have to be pressed about who comes in. And then when they do come in, a la LAPD, send all the underage minors to the back. Make sure the LAPD is really like having a comfortable tour for themselves so they don't see anything bad. Oh, here's Elizabeth. You want a photo with Elizabeth? Oh, Marisol Nichols, come over. Oh, Michael Pena. Oh, look, they want to play LAPD. Don't you want to have photos with them?
Yeah, it's awful.
And I mean, that's what's getting called out. That's what's getting called out. And that's what, the community standing behind us and saying no, because it is illegal. And we are living in a nation of laws, even though it doesn't seem like it, even though it appears that you can be recklessly lawless and never get away and always get away with it. That's what's on the public record in our personal American experience. Reckless lawlessness is all we've ever seen from this country. Excuses why everything happened and nobody can do anything is all we ever get. Legal malfeasance AF is what we get. Yeah. Oh, you should feel so lucky. You live in this country. You should really feel lucky. You got abducted from Mexico. I would have been fine living in Mexico, being left alone. At least I wouldn't have been a slave. And at least I wouldn't have lost my own personal freedom. And then what? I wouldn't have had to be on a platform talking about something ad nauseum. But, because again, Christy, like, why do we talk? It's like, well, why wasn't anyone bringing up any shred of problem when we were there? Because they were all so comfortable with it. And imagine how much we've had to fight to just be heard. And, shout out to the 507 people that are here holding space for this conversation. And all of you that already spilled over from Miriam's Rabbit interview that, again, she brought receipts and she brought the things that were discussed, the things that were not empowering whatsoever. And yes, Mike Rinder, I know that, you love being in 501cs and boards and this and that, but you know what? You got to go and do some soul searching, my friend. It's that night. You got some reconciling to do with yourself. No one can do it for you. We're not here to hate on you. We're here to ask questions, and we are allowed to ask those questions. It's that simple. It's literally that simple.
Yeah, and to just say, Mike, please do better. Claire and Mark, please do better. Leah, please do better. Please be better now that you can, now that we can. We have such an opportunity. It's such an opportunity to fix things, not to whitewash things, not to continue the executive council, continue the strategy. It's not going to get us anywhere. Maybe it'll make some people money, but it's not going to get us anywhere. It's not going to create change. It's just going to create more characters. I don't know. I just feel like we have such an opportunity to do better. And that's all that we're asking for. Be better, do better,
Yeah. Let's go to some super chats. Thank you for the super chats, you guys. Super Pub, do either of you think it's possible that MR collaborated with Leah to make the Aftermath show in order to control the narrative and benefit monetarily? Without him, Leah and the producers wouldn't have had known about Mirriam. Well, thank you for your chat, Super Pop. I mean, we don't have to. I don't think it's our job to think about that necessarily. I think the facts are what they are. The narrative is there. So if Mike Rinder wanted to control the narrative, he's been controlling the narrative. He's been the spokesperson. He's been the to-go-to. He's been the one that the media really goes and puts a microphone in front of him And, you know, he's been purporting that he's the one that really wants to tell everything that was going on. But, you know, he couldn't be more compromised himself. And that's just the fact, Mike Rinder. That is just the literal fact. You are compromised. And if you don't know this, now you do. So, like Christy just said, do better. Go figure it out. Go back to
Please
the
do better.
drawing
Do
room.
better. Yeah.
You know, go check all your interviews and, you know, actually do figure out how to stop what in the hell you, Marty Rathbun, and David Miscavige orchestrated and masterminded. I mean, in the video that I just did today, that's what he said, Christy. Like, him, David, and Marty were all about getting the IRS exemption. L. Ron Hubbard was already dead. The IRS was going to shut these people down. But then they went and dug him out of the grave. And then they propped it all up. And by 1993, they had abducted me and had figured out all manner of legal ways that it was going to be okay to enslave me. Well, you know what? It wasn't a good idea to have had me enslaved or to have had any of the minors enslaved. And whatever it was that they had or whatever it is, you know what? It's on the public record and y'all have your own opinions that you are allowed to have for yourselves. I mean, I don't think anyone needs to tell anyone what to think or how to think about this or that. I think it's better that everybody just speaks from your own opinion and your own standpoint about stuff. And then everything's on the public record, lucky for all of you to see, to check out, to see, oh, are there inconsistencies here? Yes or no? We're allowed to question inconsistencies that we see. Doesn't mean that us questioning is going to mean anything, but at least we're allowed to say, oh my God, this doesn't make sense. Or, oh my God, you know, like this and that. So, you know.
Can I just comment on the
Of
aftermath
course.
question?
Mhm.
So that was the aftermath, the show. Miriam was on it, you were on it, I was on it. We all experienced it. We have our own experiences with it. There were bumps. It wasn't great. It also was very powerful. It had so many redeeming qualities and also some, you know, bumpy parts. But and I think that was really consistent throughout our second gen community, who are the people that I engage with and listen to and advocate for. So I know that we all had our own, you know, it's never easy to talk about your trauma, and it's never easy to talk about your trauma on television and all of the nuances with filming. And so Miriam was today sharing some real insights into the pain of that. And it's true. We all had those moments where things were taken out of context, or it wasn't as special as you think it looked when they were done editing it. Like there was all sorts of ups and downs of it, but it's still, we all appreciate it. We're grateful for it. It was an incredible platform that took it into the homes of people across the world. And so it had value to get children's stories out there. Value that. And Aftermath Foundation. It's a brilliant idea. It can be so much, but it's so important that these people that put themselves in a position of leadership, or Child USA board, Aftermath Foundation board, Aftermath the show board, and are representatives for children that are suffering, are victims or survivors of this, please become trauma informed. Please, please, please get some training so that you don't re-injure the people that you're asserting you're helping. I would ask that.
Mhm.
That's my plea.
No, and I agree. I mean, look, everything has been what it is, right? We're only here because everything has already transpired. You
Yeah.
know, I would only add to that that I feel like, yes, as of the year 2024, the fact that nothing has changed, the fact that all those stories were shared, and what did A&E do afterwards? Okay, we're done. Bye. We cashed our check. They cashed a lot of checks. They made a lot of money on our pain. Disney, A&E owns Disney owns A&E. So you're a company that has to do with child welfare, and you find all these stories and there's no follow-up, and you own ABC News, and then you launder Debbie Cook's image by giving her a platform to launder her image. It's like they couldn't all just be implicated because, again, they're not in the business of doing the right thing. They're in the business of corporately making money for themselves. And perhaps this is why YouTube is the right platform to do it, because we're being raw. This is not produced. This is not, okay, cut. Let's really stop. Let's really not talk about this. No, we have our own community. This is not entertainment. We're not an entertainment story. I mean, I just hate that. That is just all we've been dehumanized inside of the hotel. And then we come out and we're just nothing but another dehumanized story of, these people that ended up in this. But, the awareness was raised, sure. And we're thankful for that. But, we're also here at
But
the other side of it now, being able to just speak, as
but
after being muscled.
but here's Mirriam, the perfect example of, if you go back and watch the Aftermath episodes, every series, every season, whatever, especially hers, we're seeking justice for our contributors. And here Mirriam is actually fighting tooth and nail to get justice by herself. And she asked them, please, for the document that they were given that would help with her case. And she's told, no, it was thrown away. No, you're not important. Like this is the time to put your money where your mouth is. Were you pretending to want justice? Were you pretending to help the contributors? Was it all just Hollywood lights and flashing whatever? Like, seriously, was it all smoke and mirrors? Like, now is the time for you guys to show us that you actually care. Please show us that you actually care. A&E, Disney, Mike Rinder, Leah Remini, everyone that profited from this show, whoever that is, I don't know. Like, please, this is your opportunity.
Yeah, and I think it'd be great to just see actions that take place, because putting up statements and trying to sanitize a narrative by blabbing, it's not necessarily what's going to make any difference at this point.
I know
the ship has sailed.
I know. And you rant about Tampa Bay Times and all these other media. Like seriously, I understand they're just here to make money. And that's sad. And I wish that we had some actual journalism that was trying to tell truths and not for how much money they could make for it. Like, it's just such a shame. I don't know if I've given up, or like, I love YouTube because we're getting to do it on our own. We don't need permission. There's no gatekeeping. All these years that we've had to ask, can you please tell my story? Is it good enough? Have you already told this one? Is this one better than the last one? Like, all is so gross. It's so gross.
So
And the idea that we can do it ourselves now is just brilliant. And everyone that's in this chat and everyone that's watched these streams and everyone that subscribes are part of this incredible energy that's making truth happen. And it's brilliant. And it's so powerful. But it's so demoralizing to watch these platforms and media sites and stuff that are just doing it for money. They're just doing it for money. And they just want to use victims' stories to make a living. And it's so discouraging.
Well, skin in the game, right, Christy? At the end of the day, they're just waiting to be told what to write, be told what to say. And of course, everything has to be super watered down because they don't have skin in the game. They don't know, I observed this, I know this to be a fact, and now I can type it, not because I've been told, because I saw it, and that is the big difference even between the community of activists that are literally organically, coming to the rescue of advocating for a cause of which they should have no dog in the fight. But yet, thanks to Streets LA, for the first time, some of us saw somebody speaking back to them and not being intimidated. And it was just one
How
man.
brilliant.
I mean, we don't have an example of that. Our parents were not like that. Our dads were not like that. Our dads were paying for us to be abused inside those hotels. And then, we're checking with us, if we didn't like it, what in the hell is wrong with you? And finally be like, oh my God, this man is like telling them that this is horrible and this is this, and he doesn't give an F. I'm like, okay, finally. And it gives you that encouragement. And that's why we say courage is contagious, because it is. It is. You're like, if you're doing it, I can do it too. And, the fact that Miriam sees, okay, we're speaking. Yes, it's okay to speak truth to power. We've been told not to do it, but that was only benefiting the people that benefit from the facts not getting exposed, for the narrative to be sanitized, for Hollywood to be very comfy-wumpy, as if Hollywood is not implicated up to their ears. They're best buddies with all of this. Elizabeth Moss, Tom Cruise, all their top celebrities that are Scientologists, they're all funding these disgusting hotels. Why?
Yeah.
Why are they funding them? Why is there no problem with it? I mean, why? And I always say, like, Christy, and I hate, and it makes me nauseous to even think about this, but Jeffrey and Ghislaine were into collecting blackmail. Jeffrey and Ghislaine were into collecting minors to do massages and to do all manner of disgusting things. Jeffrey and Ghislaine were all about, video recording shit inside of this disgusting houses that they were keeping for themselves. And imagine that, they did finally see a reckoning for themselves. And yet these hotels acted, in my opinion, personally, 1,000 billion times more, because no one ever entered that wasn't approved on the approved list. Oh, you're not on the VIP list? Good luck getting in.
Mm.
And then we're here with something that is more disgusting, that is exponentially much bigger, because none of the kids that were being exposed got paid $200 to do anything. They didn't get paid. The executives were getting paid $500 an hour for our time, with adults paying for that for us being exposed to those disgusting role plays. All of this was done with full oversight. And that's why no one in these hotels can play, oh, but I didn't know. I didn't really, I got told that it was a great place for kids. It's like, well, check your heart if you really still can say that with a straight face. Check your real, actual heart. Maybe it ended when L. Ron Hubbard failed to show, or no one could have believed in little David. Well, yeah, Lisa Gavlin, it would have all ended if they would have left that man buried where he belonged.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have all ended when the FBI could have actually done due diligence and really expanded their situationship into all the kids that were being abused back then. Imagine then you wouldn't have had David, nor Mike Rinder, nor Marty Rathbun, nor Debbie Cook, nor Angie Blankenship implicated whatsoever. They would have all gone and, made millions of dollars for themselves, had the most amazing lives. These people were not idiots. They're not stupid. They're very, very capable, very, very smart, whatever. They could have really had good lives for themselves instead of wasting it, abusing minors with full impunity under a delusion that this was a 501c, that they could all get away with it and no one's going to give a shred of an F. The fact that all of these things were propped up for no reason is what's being called out. What was the reason? What was the reason this was all okay? What was it? Because we're really wanting to find out what that reason was right about now, Mike Rinder. Type it up. Type it up. And again, it's not just you. All executives of Scientology, type that reason. And all Scientology parents, type that reason. And all Scientology celebrities, type that reason. It's really just that simple. Paris Cashin, hashtag false imprisonment is a crime. And yes, y'all, go and check it out. Go consult with a criminal attorney. You can have an advocate. It's called a criminal attorney. Y'all will have to pay. We know how much you hate paying, but you know what? That's what it's called, being an adult. You're ensnared in a criminal conspiracy, get a criminal advocate that can figure out what in the hell to do with you now. Tell them, oh, I did this. I really donated my kids. Oh, they're stuck in there. Oh, I really reaped the financial rewards of not having a child anymore at 12, at 13, at 14. I got rid of them and I gave them the passport. I gave them everything. So I false imprisoned them and, oh, I didn't know the law. They told me in the hotel everything we did was very legal. Well, again, check with a criminal advocate that can really actually school you on the law, that can actually consult with you on the law. Do not take Monique Yingling's word for whatever in the hell is worth, because between Monique Yingling and these high school dropouts that were pressed to make their little daddy figure, L. Ron Hubbard, really be something. No.
Can I say three things?
Mhm.
1, 2, 3. One, these things you're talking about with the Chilean and Epstein. If you start reading through these OSA documents that were just leaked, they are doing the same thing. They're not doing it in advance. They're doing it once someone is a risk, once someone wants to leave, once someone's speaking out, they're going, gather intel, frame them, set them up, insert things into their life we think they'll want that will compromise them. I mean, it's just like true crime. Like, seriously, I hope that we can get all these documents out there that were just leaked from Mike Rinder. 2,300 documents that are just blackmail and conspiracy. It's crazy stuff. And one of them includes is a freeloader step for Jenna. And they're talking about, they're like negotiating how much she owes, which is debt bondage when you leave the Sea organization. They say, if you leave, oh, you're going to owe us for all the training you ever had. And they make you do this training that you don't want to do anyways. But then they charge you ridiculous amounts for it when you leave, to influence you not to leave and to coerce you to, I don't know what, once you do leave. But anyways, they put in the notes that she had these services as a cadet or as a 10-year-old. And so they're giving her reduced child rates. I was just like, oh my God, are you guys, how gross. And I forgot my third point, so you can move on.
Well, no, and the other thing that, you know, they did say about Jenna is like they literally said, oh, she constantly chews up auditors.
Choose up auditors.
So,
oh, they called her a, oh, damn it, I forgot the word. There's another word they used that was hilarious. I watched it today and I was like, oh no, she needs that
think about
tattoo.
that, you guys.
Like,
Shooting up auditors is what we were told if you weren't just submissive AF to your auditor. You have to just be there with the little cans and just hold them and just be real pleasant with them. I mean, if you cried, if you wheeled, if you said no, whatever, you know, you weren't getting out of that room. And we learned that very, very quickly, that you were either just sitting there or just answering whatever the range things they wanted to know about you. They could keep you locked up against your will for as long as they wanted, ask you the most disgusting questions. So again, Mike Rinder, in what world did you allow for children to be interrogated with full impunity, with full disgusting questions, with ways that they couldn't put a shred of boundary, and now you're acting all hoity-toity? Oh, God forbid you get asked a bad question. Take it. Because you were only willing to dish it. And now that you want to, oh, no, so I'm sorry, but it's just not going to work. We are adults now in adult bodies. So we are calling out the grave injustice that we've been told didn't occur by the Tampa Bay Times, because we all just had rocky childhoods inside a church. So I'm sure your friend Thomas E. Tobin right about now could really, you know, help you launder your image again. I'm sure just call him up and say, hey, these people on YouTube are really saying bad things about me. Can you just type a quick story? The truth rundown again. Let's release it and let's remind everybody that, you know, all the top echelon of this disgusting hotels who our parents left us to, y'all couldn't have been more unhinged and disgusting and depraved, but little Thomas E. Tobin did make you look real relatable, and poor little victims you. So call him up again. Call him up and make a deal in whatever way you want. Or maybe do the right thing and actually get your ethics in for the very first time in your actual literal life. Stop spinning and start actually getting on the record for what it is.
Yeah, so can I add to my list of people? Thomas Tobin, please do better. Ford Green, please do better. Please inform yourself about Miriam and the plight of children. I don't know what happened that he just published that letter
with
for the
me.
book.
You already had a conversation with me. I already
I
talked to
know.
you. I already told you what they were doing to the children. I already informed you. We had lengthy conversations about it, and I don't mince with MF words, Ford Green. So in what world can you really be, oh yeah, let's really defend this? I mean, you know, I mean, the only plausible deniability I'm giving him, Christy, which is outrageous, is that I did hear that he did break a hip or something, and that he's not probably in the best mindset to be.
He's in a rehab hospital, and he's been there for a couple of months. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, again, these lawyers need to know that you are all lawyers, big grown-ups that you are. You too, Marcy Hamilton. Why is this man in your board? Marcy Hamilton, you guys, is an attorney that I had plenty of conversations about what in the hell they did to us there, given that they did tell us that we're going to do a big lawsuit and civil situationship and all of that. And right now we don't even have to get into more details than that. But Marcy Hamilton, you are getting called out too. You, Child USA, really want to help the children. Well, you know what? You haven't helped a shred of child inside of those hotels. Literally, that's your record. Let the record show you've helped not a single shred of child. And when was the mass done? Oh, yeah. What? Now, how many years ago it's been the aftermath now? 7 years? 8 years?
2018, I think, was season 3 that she was on. Yeah, so I will say that I think it was a perfect marriage, a Hollywood marriage for Marcy Hamilton, Child USA, Leah Remini, and Mike Rinder. I think it was just like a celebrity handshake. It was just a PR situation.
Whatever the reasons were,
no, it's fine. Care. But that I'll tell you what, when we left the original attorneys and Marcy Hamilton called us a package, then I was kind of done with Marcy Hamilton representing kids, calling them a package. Like that was like, I was kind of done after that.
Well, because attorneys also see us like that, you guys. We're also just
a package. Just business.
We're all just a number. Yeah. We're all just an opportunity to go talk to the Supreme Court or whatever in the hell it is that they want to do with us. We don't give a shred of an F. And that's why I've said we need criminal prosecution. What was done to us is criminal. It's not just, go sort it out with the civil courts that are really going to give you a deal where you really do get muscled for the rest of your life. We don't want any blood money for ourselves. No, thank you. No literal thank you. We don't care about the money. We'd flush it down the toilet faster than anyone's head could spin. We need answers that make a shred of sense. We need guardrails to be instituted as per what in the hell the Constitution said.
Totally.
That's all. Yeah. Look at Ruby Franke. Ruby Franke was literally doing all manner of crimes against her kids and against her children. And look how much that also investigation got bungled. Because again, Christy, when children are involved, all these investigations get bungled and bungled and bungled and bungled, and people raise concerns and people say, hey, check it out, this, that. Oh no, we can't do it. Oh no, we can insult them. Oh no, let them do whatever. It's if a child doesn't run out with marks on their hands from being handcuffed, then everybody gets to play dumb as long as they want, is what in the hell we have on the public record, and how abysmal and disgusting all of these agencies, these soup letter agencies that really, oh yeah, pay us more money because we really don't have enough here at the FBI or the Department of Justice. It really takes a lot of money to enforce the laws. Well, yeah, no shit. No literal shit. So tell us how much money we have to raise for y'all. We'll raise it. Trust us. We will raise that MF money for y'all to do your jobs. If you don't have it in the budget, then tell us how much money we need to go and make for this to stop. That's all we're asking. L. Ron Hubbard is a disgusting, convicted, indicted felon, DOJ. What in the literal hell is so hard to understand about that fact?
Mm-hmm.
Mike Rinder did psychopathic things that he should be accountable for. Ted Bundy admitted to his crimes after he was caught, but he still went to jail. Just saying. And I mean, again, you guys, we're not here to be the prosecutors of Mike Rinder. We're not here. We have nothing. We have literally 7th grade education. We're nobodies. We're literal fleas. Literally fleas. So all we can do is jump up and down like fleas and go, what in the literal hell? You know, we didn't go to George Washington. We don't have a shred of university degree. So yes, our viewpoints couldn't be more whatever they are. Blow drill. Atone for your wrongdoing and simply change your behavior. This is not the Sea Org. There are no ethics conditions. Yeah, I mean, exactly. Atonement has to come with actual reality and actual ways to see that the atonement was achieved, not just blab about it. So I completely agree. There are no ethics conditions, but there is accountability. So let's see that accountability, you know, let's see the things changing for those kids, because that will show accountability. When all of a sudden it's like, oh, breaking news, no one under 21 could be stuck inside of those hotels. You know what? That would be enough. That's all we are MF asking. Literally, Scientology, literally, OSA, literally, CC, all lawyers of these disgusting hotels. Y'all want to know how to end this? Get out all 21 and unders. Make sure they're nowhere near y'all's hotels. Make sure you tell all the parents that they will face criminal prosecution if they get found doing what in the hell L. Ron Hubbard told them they could do to children. Give them that advice. Don't teach them the words. Don't teach them all this other bullshit euphemisms. No. No grooming for kids. Period. Full stop. Is that too much to ask or what? I mean, it's literally an action step. We're not here to tell adults, oh, you can't do this, you cannot do that. Oh, the FBI is really pressed because, you know, the attorneys of these people are going to go, oh my God, but my client could do whatever. Stop it, FBI. Stop playing dumb. That's what in the hell is called. Stop playing dumb. Start doing your damn due diligence. Go read what in the hell L. Ron Hubbard wrote. And then someone in your crimes against children's unit double check if that's not a crime, getting a child locked up against their will. By all means, advise quickly. Type something up quickly because we're losing our MF patients. As all of y'all just sit there at the FBI, you know, having a jolly old time. Leah has an MAA up in her IG stories right now. Well, great. Great, great, great. Send y'all's questions to her. I mean, good. There are more protections on religions, and the FBI are afraid to have another Waco. Why do you think it took so long to take them down from the people of the Catholic Church? Yeah, you guys, but this is, you know, again, this is like what the FBI has done to purport that they are, oh, our hands are so tied. It's called Scientology owns all the top attorneys, law firms in this disgusting, corrupt AF country. It's called, they've been going law firm after law firm after law firm. Hey, you want to make a quick buck here? Here, sign up, sign up, sign up. We got a ton of money. So the FBI doesn't have to go deal with Waco people that really are armed to their teeth. Mind you, these people are armed to their teeth. As much as they complain about us, we know what is in the hell in their arsenal. But they do have a lot of attorneys. And if those attorneys get contacted by the FBI with someone with actual literal BALLS, then, oh, you know what? Rein this back. Oh, you know what? Don't do this. Oh. And again, it's the public pressure. Is y'all being able to advocate for kids? Because again, it's like, if you don't have what in the hell you're advocating for, then yeah, you don't know what in the hell to do. No one can come and tell an adult what they can or cannot do in their own literal lives. So that is already a failing advocacy strategy to really go and save all the adults that are really loving it for themselves. It's just not a thing. So no one under 21 is consenting. Couldn't be more clear what in the hell the next step is. It's literally called low hanging AF fruit, FBI. And before you go, oh, it's going to be so dangerous, call up Monique, call up Robert E. Mango, call up all the other attorney law firms that they have for themselves. And if any of those law firms can really type a pitch real quick and tell us why locking up kids inside hotel rooms against their will for as many hours as they want, to be asked disgusting questions ad nauseum, to be laundering the felonies of self-admitted father of Mirriam, then please let us know what the actual answer is. Culty Talk, what happened with the LAPD is everyone's problem. Don't think that this can happen to you later. It's happening to ex-Scientologists right now. Does anyone remember Hitler? Literally. Does anybody remember Hitler, or is Hitler just, relegated to bye-bye? Oh, it's called they became radicalized. The German people were radicalized. The German people were told you couldn't be more superior. You couldn't be more entitled to dehumanize others so that you can get off. You couldn't be more entitled to put people in gas chambers because you are much more superior than everybody. Well, L. Ron Hubbard's proteges have that exact viewpoint. They think they are it. They are the best. They are the most homo novus. They are the most this. They are the most that. So, again, it's like even the Nazis. Yeah, they could have said, "Oh, I was really brainwashed." Okay, but did you push the button in the gas chamber? Oh, I guess I did, but I didn't know. Well, then go and do the time. You did the crime. Go and do the time. Or go and bring receipts, or go get a criminal attorney. Go get them to advise you on what in the hell you got involved in. All adults can go get advocates. That is available to all of them. They can make cases for themselves. They can, figure out crafty ways to say this, crafty ways to say that. We don't care. We're literally fleas at the bottom of the barrel that have no education. We're not here to do anything other than speak our mind. We're supposed to be allowed to do that. Last time we checked, the Constitution only gave us that right to speak our mind. So I think that's where we are.
Are we done? Can I say 3 things? I have 3 things again. 1, please, everyone, message the Aftermath Foundation. Please ask them to approve Miriam's request for therapy. We've all donated to it. I was on auto donate for a year. Like, I've been funding the Aftermath Foundation forever. We all have been donating what we can. She deserves it. She asked for it. She should get it. I'd like to know why they would not approve her. 2, Mike Rinder, please answer the questions that you can. You don't have to answer all of them. Please answer the ones you can. That would be so powerful to all of us to have some transparency. I understand you probably have some legal liability, and I'm sure you have legal counsel, and I hope that Ford Green could guide you to do the right thing to help Mirriam, to help us all evolve and heal. A&E and Leah Remini, please give Mirriam the documents from her episode that she needs for her case. How hard could that be to actually help one of your contributors seek justice? And then the last thing is that we have a petition for kids coming soon that will be published on one of our websites, maybe Children of Scientology, maybe ex-Scientology kids. Jenna's working on kind of reestablishing that site, and we might partner together. But it'll be a petition for protection for children from Scientology. So look for that coming soon. And then just thank you, everyone, for caring, for supporting Mirriam. Thank you, Mirriam. You have inspired all of us. I mean, it's just brilliant. And Serge, you inspire us every day.
Well, and thank you, Christy. And you've had our back since the very inception of us, coming up for air. So we're all just little drops of bucket in this ocean. And, it's going to require all of our strength and all of you guys that have showed up again to hear the unthinkable and to support, because, our humanity can bind us together and can empower us to stand up. So we couldn't be more grateful for this moment and a true turning point to power to survivors and start holding these institutions accountable to, to really get some change and to get some protections in place so no more children ever go through what we went through, so that no more self-admitted pedos get a free pass inside a hotel, and that no more kids are implicated in this disgusting hotel. That's all we're asking. No more kids in Scientology, because kids cannot consent. We don't have to yap ad nauseum. That's literally all the FBI needs to know what we're asking. We know what those role plays were, FBI. We know that they were hardcore AF. We know that there were no boundaries allowed. So if y'all don't know it, then come and find out for your damn selves already, and stop pretending that a disgusting convicted felon wrote something and y'all can, oh no, I can't look at that because, oh my God, I'm really going to insult some religious people in there. Stop being pathetic. Period. America demands that you go and protect children. America pays y'all hefty 6+ figure salaries, and y'all are nowhere to be found bungling every last shred of child trafficking investigation that comes y'all's way. So don't let this be the next Larry Nassar. Don't let this be the Epstein situationship. Don't do that, FBI. I mean, as if you haven't already. You have already bungled it by not doing a shred of thing. But you haven't even begun to help a shred of child. So maybe we'll give y'all the benefit of the doubt. Maybe we should just do that. But then let's see with your actions that you actually do have the power to enforce the laws in this country, and that you just cannot be kneecapped by a bunch of pathetic, delusional nobodies that are doing literally the bidding of a convicted, indicted felon. And if y'all cannot stop that, then I don't know. But I think you will. I think you will stop it. And I think that, all of you guys' support, again, is what is going to make the difference. We're all just a tiny drop of water in this ocean, and we're perfectly aware. We're all a bunch of fleas. Fine. So let's jump and let's demand answers, and let's make these people actually start scratching their heads, because maybe a good idea can come up from there. That's
and
all
please
we're asking.
Let's all aspire to be as brave as Mirriam. Every one of us. Let's aspire to be as brave as Mirriam.
And empower survivors, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And we will all see you so soon. And go and subscribe to Children of Scientology and look at all the information that's already there, because there's already a lot there for all of one to see. Thank you so much. And we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.